Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Monday, August 5th. Hopefully everyone's staying safe out there with Hurricane Debbie rolling through Florida. Jaguars Training Camp Practice continues on, though. Training Camp Practice number 11 in the books. Moved inside, obviously, to the indoor field with all the rain and wind going on here in Jacksonville. But we're going to dive into everything I saw out there today. Certainly, being indoors changes the way we can cover practice, and we're going to get into all that. But I really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear like the hat I am wearing right now. Become a channel member here on YouTube. Gets you discounts and other cool perks. Really appreciate y'all. So, like I said, being indoors changes the dynamic of being able to cover practice. We're limited to a much smaller area. There's also only one practice field indoors, so everything's more condensed, and it's not as easy to see everything. So we don't get to see quite as much indoors. That's just kind of how it goes. Doug Peterson did speak to the media before practice. We'll get into what he had to say. He was asked about refs not being present at practice yet. Usually the Jaguars have some officials out there kind of, throwing flags, ruling if a kick goes in, things of that nature. But he said since there will be refs there for joint practices between the Jags and the Bucs next week, that's why they haven't had refs yet. I'm not really sure it matters all that much, but just an interesting note. He said he's really pleased with where the team is at right now. Says there's a lot of good competition. He's happy with the work that they've been getting in so far. So he's happy at this point with where the team's at, but still a long way to go. Over a month still until the Jaguars' first regular season game. Just over a month. He was asked about offensive line injuries, if those are going to impact his decision on quarterbacks playing Saturday against the Chiefs, Trevor Lawrence specifically. He said no. He said he feels like Anton Harrison is close to returning from concussion protocol. He expects him back this week. Cam Robinson is limited in practice, so he's close as well. So not concerned with not having the guys out there to be able to protect Trevor Lawrence. And he did say that the starters will probably play in the preseason opener. So you'll probably see the starters for a couple drive or two out there with Trevor Lawrence and company. Interesting. Not every team employs that strategy throughout the preseason, so it's always interesting to see how that plays out. Ezra Cleveland, they're still waiting on getting back to health. He had the leg injury he sustained Saturday in the in-stadium practice. Devon Hamilton asked about him, said he's been great, said it's been really exciting to get him back, being, the type of player they know he can be. He said that he's really pleased with how Cam Little's responded to being named the starting kicker, but says it's still early. And they have tried to put him in some pressure-packed situations, but also not push him too hard. You're just kind of trying to ramp up for the regular season, and they feel good about where he's at and how he's been performing so far. Says Tyson Campbell has grown as a leader. Devin Lloyd has grown as a leader. Also mentioned that Tank Bigsby has grown as a leader on the offensive side of the ball, and also says Christian Kirk specifically is really helping Brian Thomas Jr. come out of his shell a little bit. And I think that's huge. I mean, anybody that can try to help a rookie kind of become more comfortable and be himself a little bit more, that's obviously massive. Says Eric Armstead probably won't be able to practice this week and certainly won't be up for preseason week 1 against the Chiefs, but says they are not worried about his availability for the start of the regular season, says they've got plenty of time and not concerned about that at this point. It was full pads today, probably the last day of full pads before Chiefs, maybe. They don't practice tomorrow. They do have practice Wednesday. We'll see how that plays out. Maybe they'll have pads on Wednesday, not sure. But they did have full pads today. Looking at the injury report, not practicing, Stephen Jones, calf, but he was dressed. He had his pads on, so he looks like he's getting closer. Ezra Cleveland with the leg, same thing. Patrick Murtaugh obviously had surgery on his ankle, not practicing. Anton Harrison, concussion protocol, not practicing. Andrew Wingard, knee, not practicing. Greg Jr., knee, not practicing. Limited today. Ventrell Miller, who has the hand wrapped up right now, he's no contact, but Doug Peterson said he feels like he'll probably be able to play on Saturday. So that's pretty good for Ventrell Miller because this is a guy that's been playing well. You want to see him be able to get out there. Cooper Hodges returned to practice on a limited basis, dealing with the back injury. Cam Robinson, as we mentioned, has the shoulder. He's limited. Keelan Robinson, toe. He was limited to individual drills. And then Jordan Jefferson has an ankle, also limited to individual drills. And then we did see one scary injury out there today. It's happening way too much in Jacksonville and around the league. Very scary stuff during training camp. But Deshaun Dixon, he went down during practice. It was, a long silence. I want to say moment of silence, but it really wasn't a moment. He was down on the field getting attended to by the trainers. I couldn't see exactly what happened, and I'm not going to speculate on what happened. But he was down on the field for a while. Trainers were dealing with him or trying to help him, and the entire team got down on a knee and was kind of, praying for their guy. And then they went and dapped him up when he was able to get helped off the field. So hopefully Deshaun Dixon, the Jaguars defensive lineman, will say, he started out as an edge, shifted inside to defensive line, playing some edge now. He's a defensive lineman. And he's an undrafted guy, but he's certainly got some talent, and he's a hard worker, and he's been around here for a couple years, 3 years. So you hope Deshaun Dixon, can come out of that and not have a long-term injury or anything like that. In terms of the periods we saw today of team, you saw 4-on-4 offense versus defense. You had 11-on-11. You had some situational football. Team trying to get out of their own end zone, like they're backed up to the goal line trying to get out of that situation on offense. You also had hurry up offense, end of half type of situation. You also had a last play of the game or half against a prevent defense where all the defenders are backed up close to the goal line. You did have some OLDL one-on-one, but that is the one thing that we really couldn't see at all based on where we were limited to on the field. It was going on at the same time as 7-on-7. We just couldn't see it. Because 7-on-7 was on our side, and you can't go past a certain point in the indoor practice facility due to space constraints. Looking at some of the things that happened during 11-on-11, Ronald Darby, another pass breakup. He has been almost automatic every practice, it seems like, getting a pass breakup. DeAndre Prince also got 2 pass breakups of Trevor Lawrence. So good to see him out there making plays against the starting quarterback. And speaking of the starting quarterback, he did play well today. He did have 1 interception, but other than that, very sharp. The star of the show today, the MVP of practice, without question, was Andre Sisco. Early on, he picked off CJ Beathard. A little bit later, stepped in front of a pass, picked off Mac Jones. A little bit later, stepped in front of a pass, picked off Trevor Lawrence. Picked off all 3 quarterbacks today, got the hat trick on the interceptions. Andre Sisco with an unbelievable performance in practice today. And this is the type of guy that can force turnovers. We've seen it throughout his college career. We've seen it in the NFL. This is the type of safety that has the chance, especially in Ryan Nielsen's defense, to pick off a lot of passes. And so very exciting to see Andre Sisco out there playing well. I thought the run defense really owned the day early on and for most of practice during the team portion. You did see a little bit of a bounce back late. I thought that Tank Bigsby had a couple nice runs and Travis Etienne had one nice run. But overall, I think the run defense is still having a really good camp. And usually when you see those runs that end up doing well, it's not with Devon Hamilton and Josh Allen and Devin Lloyd and company on the field. That's just kind of how it's been going. You see a lot of runs when Allen and Lloyd and Hamilton and all these guys are out there where it looks like there's a hole for a second. It looks like there's a gap, but it just gets closed so quickly. And you love to see that. Roy Robertson Harris also had a really big day. I thought he had multiple sacks in teams would-be sacks. Cam Little, speaking of, Doug talked about him before practice. I think he only had 1 attempt in team, and it bounced off the upright and in. So sometimes you just need to be lucky. Obviously, if you hit it off the upright and in, you hit it on the inside of the upright. So Cam Little's been doing a really good job. We did have a fight. Gabe Davis caught a pass, and Buster Brown laid a lick on him. Looked like Davis wasn't really ready for it. Christian Kirk from the sideline did not like that. Charged in there and had a little bit of a fight there. He threw Buster Brown to the ground. It was broken up reasonably quickly, but C-tempers flaring a little bit there. And, that doesn't bother me one bit from Christian Kirk. Like, was it a cheap shot? No. Buster Brown, it wasn't a cheap shot, but it was a tough physical play where Gabe Davis wasn't really ready for it. Is it a play that you would make in a game? Yes. Is it a penalty? No. But it's practice, and I think that there are rules of engagement. I think that Doug Peterson called it. That probably goes a little bit beyond what you're supposed to be doing out there from a Buster Brown. And Christian Kirk took exception to it. He charged and defended his guy, and I like to see that passion and leadership from Christian Kirk. So that'll pretty much do it. Again, I think Trevor Lawrence played very well today outside of the interception.